Funerals can be traced to the dawn of mankind, with many cultures having some form of ritual for the dead. Many of these rituals are religious in nature and vary greatly from one area to another. The idea of red carpet burial or funeral is not a thing of the BLM. Even many cultures around the world always parade with a casket of the remains before burial. How big the parade would be is determined by how much financial the family is able to raise. In some cases, the deceased even plan for their own funeral before transition, like the case of Senator John McCain of Arizona. Historically, the cost of funeral has always been very expensive, including entertainment and feasting after the burial proper. Even back to the BLM and in some remote area where funeral home does not exist or where the remains is buried immediately, the cost is still high. Many would like to plan for their own funeral while still alive, and how financially viable you are will determine how big your funeral will be. Planning of your own funeral starts right now, and I want the BLM people and other African community resident in the US to take an advantage of LECDA Life community-based initiative so that you can plan for your own funeral. As many of you already know, LECDA Life Insurance Administrator held a town hall meeting last week, November 3rd, in Columbus, Ohio, to educate and enroll members so that they can plan for their own funeral before their transition. The meeting that started with the introduction of the initiative.
Good evening, everyone. Once more, welcome to LECDA Life Town Hall this evening. As most of you know me, I'm Afro Kodin. I'm one of the administrators of LECDA Life. And we are happy to have, all the administrators of LECDA Life here today. I'm going to start with the CEO. This is the CEO of LECDA USA, Mr. Pascal. He's coming all the way, Pascal Chendem, he's coming all the way from Arizona. CEO, welcome. And here we have Dr. Vela from Boston. He's also one of he's Nkem, just as myself, Nkem Vela from Boston, and he's one of the administrators of LECDA Life. And here you have our right-hand man, Barrister Fundumala, all the way from Arizona. Barrister, welcome to Ohio. And here you have Professor Amin from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's one of the administrators of LECDA Life. And here you have my best friend and also Dr. Pam Fonju. She's one of the administrators of LECDA Life, and she's coming from Virginia. So, and of course, you guys were supposed to have Chief Fomeche, but unfortunately he missed his flight, but he's going to join us here tomorrow. So thank you for coming to our town hall. We really appreciate it, especially with the busy schedule you guys have, but you try to be here this evening, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We said to ourselves, how can we address this community problem? That's how LECDA Life was born. So in 2019 was again the birth of LECDA Life. So how exactly does the program work? It is very simple. I put it in a way of a Jangi format. That's how I look at LECDA Life.
Then follow by different plan and packages and benefits.
So with respect to benefits for LECDA Life, you have to be, first of all, to become a member, you have to be resident in the US, Mexico, or Canada. Now, like Dr. Pam says, you don't have to have a social security number or a green card to become a member. And I'm an attorney, immigration attorney. As good as your notice to appear when you come into the US, even from the back road, just show us your notice to appear that you have a court date with your name on it. That's enough for us to know that you live in the United States, and we can use that to register you in LECDA Life. So it's very easy, affordable. Write all the shortcomings that we had with Saji and many other supplemental life insurance programs that existed in the US. So as of now, we are proud to say we are one of the best, if not the best, supplemental life insurance scheme that exists in the US today. So as long as you are a resident of US, Canada, or Mexico, if something happens to you while you are here, unfortunately you pass away, the benefit is, as of now, is $15,000. So we write you a check for your family, a beneficiary which you would provide to us. There's some process you have to go through to let us know who would be the beneficiary, or your family at the time you pass would send some documents to them. They'll go through the documents and fill out the form so we can know who to pass on the check to. And as long as you were an enrolled member and you pass here, then we're going to write a check to your family for $15,000. If you are a member here, US, Mexico, or Canada, and you travel abroad and you pass and you want to be brought back to the US, we pay you $15,000 to defer your cops back to the US. If you are, say, in Germany or in Holland and something happened to you and you want to be transported to Cameroon, we pay $15,000 for your cops to be deferred to Cameroon. If you're in Cameroon, you go to visit and something happens to you and you want to be buried here in the US, we'll pay your family $15,000 to bring your cops back and bury it where you supposedly have your loved ones, your children and your wife, who are here and who would be going to your gravesite to see you every day. If you are in Cameroon, something happens to you and you want to be buried in Cameroon, we would reduce that amount of money. Remember, the purpose of LECDA Life is to help ease the cost, the funeral cost of taking your cops back home. So if you're already home, we'll give you $5,000, since that's where you want to be buried and you died in the place where you want to be buried. It's not the same amount of money, so we'll give your family $5,000. So that's how benefits work for LECDA Life. And I know you have questions. When we're done and we're through, you're going to have the chance to ask questions to all of us here, and we're going to answer your questions for you. The other program I want to talk about is LECDA Life Kids. So we had some issues with parents. It was a little burden for parents to go through paying their money for themselves and then for children as well, including myself. I have 3 kids. You know, I have my parents, so I had about 7 or 8 people in my family that I pay every year. So it was a little hectic for most family members. So we came up with the idea of LECDA Life Kids. We wanted to separate the kids from the adults. So we created a scheme, LECDA Life Kids, for kids who are 18 years old and younger. Those kids will have their own program. If something happens to them, God forbid, we have not lost any kids since we started. Knock on wood. If anything were to happen to them, then we pay $10,000. Now this money comes from the kids fund. It will be $10,000 for the kids. Again, registration, you have to pay $20 to register and enroll to become a member, and $12 administrative fee also apply to the children. So that's the LECDA Life Kids, and it's working so well now because kids don't die as much as adults. By the time you start 30, 40 and going up, there's a high probability that you will go before children who are 18 years and younger. Now, when they turn over 18, we can transition them now to the adult LECDA Life. And at that time, they don't have to pay a registration fee all over. With the consent of the parents, we're going to transfer them into the adult program, and we're going to pick up from there with respect to the kids.
Majority of the time was spent on questioning and answer, where the administrator provided almost all the answers to the audience.
Family of somebody who travels to Africa 7-5, and somebody who is going to be buried here, who is already in his or her destination as well. They're not going to spend any money to transport the corpse somewhere. They are paying the same person $15,000. Somebody who has been contributing throughout travels, and then they pay the person $7,500. So what's the logic? Because
see how we can help families. Funeral cost in the US is up the roof. So it's not only the fact that we want to defray costs and pay that funeral expenses to bring you back home. Funeral cost in the US now is over $25,000. So it makes sense to keep it at $15,000 for people who have been buried here, and keep it at $5,000 before having been buried in Cameroon, because it's not the same cost you go through. My mother-in-law just passed away in February. We spent over $25,000 for her to put her on the ground. LECDA Life gave me 15,000. I still put some more money to myself. But in Cameroon, it's not the same. So that's the logic behind why we came up with these numbers.
Remember again, LECDA Life was created to be able to repatriate our loved ones back to their final destination of their choosing. Therefore, if they're already at their final destination, the benefit is a little bit lower. Yeah, because they are already there. We don't have to transport them back home.
Like any other insurance, even with this community-based initiative, there are still some very strict rules and policy that every member must abide in order to gain benefit when they transition.
Join LECDA Life, let's say through LECDA USA. And your meeting group, the women's meeting group is going to join LECDA Life. And you are already a member with LECDA USA. You can decide at that time that I want to be a member through my women's group. What we will do at that time, the president of the women's group will find out from LECDA USA if you are in good standing. Because we don't want people to come here and not pay and then they jump to the other group and become a member. So once they check with LECDA USA and you are a member there in good standing, you are fine. You can choose one group. You don't have to jump from group to group. For example, there are people now in Cleveland that are already members of LECDA Life, but they want to belong to the Cameroon Association there in Cleveland. So I told those people in Cleveland, when that group is coming in, they should exclude them. Once that group, the whole group is matriculated, I will then transfer them to the Cleveland group. But don't put a member who is already matriculated when you are registering that group, because they'll come up, it will be confusion. Let those matriculated members wait. When that group is matriculated, they will decide if to belong to this group or the other group. But you have only one matriculation number. You choose the group you want to belong to, we can transfer you to that group.
Yes.
So we have many groups. We have now almost 50 groups or so that are LECDA Life. So we deal with the coordinator. So individuals, John or Atem Peter does not pay money directly to LECDA Life. The group pays money to LECDA Life. So now, if you have somebody in your group that is not paying the money, that group is in default. It's not John who is in default. The group is in default.
The whole group.
So the whole group, if something happens to that whole group, the group does not qualify because the group is in default. Because we are not coming to ask John and Peter that give us the money. It's the coordinator that is responsible to that. So the coordinator will say that this guy has not been paid this money. We have paid 2 days and he has not paid. So we think that we'll drop the name. And then you will need to inform the administrator that this name is for, in order that the other members of the group should be functional, in good standing. So this really ties with the coordinator so much. And you have to be communicating with the administrator of your region so that you actually, try to say that this, because I know that some of the coordinators are paying a lot of money for those who have not been paying.
You want to come back at a later time. Guess what? You pay a fine. $300. So you can't just drop off and then you come back. We have processes that would have you pay a fine and then you stay again for your length of time before you can become a full-time member while contributing. So it's very important to know
Mr.
that.
Ashu, I hope you are
Overall, one could say it was a successful event, as two of the administrators reinforced the message that LECDA Life is a community-based, a non-profit initiative, as recounted.
Are you satisfied with the outcome of this event?
Yes. First of all, I want to thank Gaza Media for always doing a good job for the BLM community and for covering everything that matters to the BLM. I am very, very satisfied with everything that happened here today. As a matter of fact, this is one of our best town halls that we've had. The questions from the audience, the participation from the audience, the answers that the administrators gave, and all the interaction was so fabulous, and I'm very happy and proud. LECDA Life is only moving forward and it's going to move forward forever.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and thank you for coming out here.
You're welcome. Take care.
Are you satisfied with the outcome?
Thank you, Gaza Media. It's just amazing how when we bring the community together to get feedback from the community, we usually find such a success. When the administration decided to come to Ohio for their yearly administrative meeting and also to talk to the community in Ohio about LECDA Life, we didn't know that it was going to turn out to be such a success. So we really want to thank all the administrators, the Ohio community, for coming out tonight to support this community-based program. I think that the program was a success, was just a huge success. The question that we asked in this community tells us that the work that is being done is being felt in the community. Thank you.
Yes, and because you keep saying this statement, it's a community organization built by the community for the community. What message are you really trying to send out when you keep using that phrase over and over?
I want to say to Gaza Media that when we live in a community and we see gaps in services in the community and we decide together as a community to support the community, that's why this is a community-based program. It started off by people looking at some of the challenges that we see in the United States. And one of those challenges was to repatriate our loved ones back to Cameroon. And we decided that LECDA USA, being the mother of the BLM, why can't we start a program that will be able to serve this community and also to fill that gap that we saw in the community? That's where LECDA Life was born. It was born by the community looking at the needs of the community and to close the gap within the community to help the community to thrive.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for supporting and for helping the less privileged.
Thank you, Gaza Media, for always being present in the community to talk about community news and to desensitize messages in the community. Thank you.
LECDA Life has been a very sustainable program. Since its creation in 2019, it has been able to sponsor its members in funeral expenses worth over $500,000 USA. This is Gaza Media for Community News. I'm Ernest Kumba, reporting from Columbus, Ohio. Stay tuned.